years ago I built this hardwood raised deck area to put our hot tub on. Now unfortunately, since the energy prices went crazy, we had to retire the hot tub, but it's actually really nice to sit out here when we do occasionally get a little bit of nice weather. However, as you can see, it's starting to look a little bit tired. The structure itself is great. I used a stratorized raised pedestal feet, and the hardwood top is actually Kärcher, I never know how you pronounce it, which I used on the front of the workshop as cladding, but its primary use is articulated lorry flooring. So I need to get off my backside, figure out a way to sort this out, and let's see how we get on. Right, as you can see already, it's starting to look much better, and that's just with the initial clean down with the pressure washer. Now, I'm going to leave this to dry for a little while, and whilst it's drying, I'm going to give you a tip. I treated myself to this one recently. This is the Kärcher K3 pressure washer. It's not the cheapest one they do, but it's not the bells and whistles expensive one either. I think it was just over £100, and that's worked really well on this. The tip is this: the other year, I bought another Kärcher model. This is the battery operated pressure washer. Stay away from this, it's rubbish. It's very heavy. When I can't switch between arms, it was tiring my arm out in no trouble, and the pressure on it was poor. It wouldn't have been able to do anything like what I've just done here. So I don't think the battery technology is there yet for these things. Maybe there is with another manufacturer, but not with this one. So stay away from this kind of thing, and lean to more still with the powered one like this. Right, I'm going to leave this to dry for a bit, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Morning. It's the morning after the cleanup operation started yesterday, and it's looking really good up to now, and we had no rain overnight, which is pretty much a miracle around these parts. Now, the next step in terms of preparation is probably the most important one in my opinion, but also the one that everyone wants to skip because it's back-breaking really, and that is stripping it back by sanding it down before applying a new finish. Why is it so important? Well, if you've got the remnants of an old finish on there and you don't strip that back down, then the new finish is going to fail much quicker. So yeah, just going to have to grin it and bear it. I suppose really one of those kind of floorboard sanders that people use inside, and imagine that that'd do that in no time, this kind of job. Or those I've seen those products from Kärcher and Festool which they use to do the ceilings and the walls. That'd be ideal, but we don't have one of them. But I do have my new Kärcher Dios 2, my random orbit sander. And just a little bit of advice. if you're tackling this job. Now, my knees are shot to pieces. I've got arthritis in both of them. I've had multiple surgeries on both of them. Football, it's a terrible game. Well, it's a great game to play, but the after effects later in life. But you've got to look after your knees. Now, I can't kneel on any surface, really, because it's just too painful. But I did, and I've tried loads of different knee pads. Some of those little cup ones that make you walk like Jar Jar Binks. Terrible. But these are by far the best ones I have ever come across, and they're by Tough Built. I'll leave a link in the description for you, and it makes kneeling for me bearable for a short period of time. And the other piece of advice I'm going to get, if you are maybe not as young as you once were, is when you're getting down to kneel to do this kind of job, make sure you've got your exit strategy planned, as in you can get yourself back up. It's quite easier to get yourself down there. To get yourself back up can be a little bit more difficult. So I always have my Cheapest Chips IKEA Beckford to hand, because it gives me a purchase with my good arm to push myself up, because obviously only got the one arm. I've got to make sure I've got my getting up plan as planned, as well as my getting down plan. Right, I am waffling because I'm trying to put this job off, but I'm going to crack on with it now. Oh, it's the paddle. And then we'll get this done and then follow on to the next step after that. Okay, all sanded down now and looking pretty smart at this stage. Now, if you haven't done any of this type of work before, the final part of the preparation is probably equally as important as the sanding stage, even though I said the sanding stage was the most important bit, and that is to remove as much of the fine dust particles as you can before applying any kind of finish. Just think of it this way, whatever finish you're using, whether that's a stain or an oil, you want to get the best bond possible between that finish and the wood surface. And if you've got a layer of fine dust particles blocking that, then it's not going to bond as well, and it could lead to failing early, that kind of thing. So how am I going to clean this up? There's various ways of doing it, but I'm going to use just a lint-free cloth. In this case, it's actually just an old cotton t-shirt and some Terps. Well, actually this is Terps Sub because it's a lot cheaper than Terps itself. So I'm just going to wipe it all down, let it dry off, and then I'm going to hit it with the finish. So back on the knees. Good job I've got these knee pads. All right, innit? Right, folks, that's it for this one. Really happy with how things turned out. The Ronseal decking oil went on fine. Just need to follow manufacturer's instructions for that, which was 2 coats. And it really has brought it back to life. It looks like the day I put it down. Okay, as ever, folks, take care, look after yourselves. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.